Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Glen Chun, the host of Glen Chun, the YouTube channel, and today I have a trial of F1 2013. I wanted to review the game, give you my thoughts, because I had the hour's trial on PlayStation Plus, and I wanted to see, basically, are the games that are coming out for the final games for this generation of consoles good enough to warrant putting off the purchase of the next-gen consoles? So I thought I'd give this game a try and see what it says, see what it's about. And yeah, here are my findings. So without any further ado, here is the gameplay. But one small warning, for some unknown, really annoying reason, the sound's gone. So I have absolutely no sound for you. But let me just paint a picture for you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, so here we go. This is my first actual drive of the game. I just did a quick race. This is all I really wanted to do. I'm playing as Sebastian Vettel. I thought, let's try and make life easy for me. Let's be the German, and let's go at Singapore. Unfortunately, it started raining, and as you could already see from when we were standing still, the rain graphics are much better this year. And when people crash into you, the driver raises his hand, which is quite nice and realistic. It shows that the driver's getting pissed at the people around him. So this is my actual first experience with the game. This is me on my steering wheel rig for the first time in like a year and a half, possibly even 2 years, and I'm trying to get used to that again. And by the way, I've also got a real car now, so Renault Clio, and the force feedback feels weird compared to what you get in a real car, and it took a little bit of getting used to again. So here I am trying a brave overtaking maneuver. I think it works. I think I get myself into 7th place for this little 3-lap race. But I also wanted to see just how accurate is this, because this game would have been, I think they probably would have been producing the tracks before we actually came to Singapore this year. So that means that they must have had, so I wanted to see basically, have they actually got the amendment to the little chicane thing here. And here we are, we're at that corner, and yes, it's accurate. It's just something that I really like. The something that I have noticed is that this game does have a few little more details in it, just slight attention to detail that I don't think I really recall seeing too much of in the previous games. Stuff like the driver waving his hand, there's emotion in this game. I also like the animation. When you're getting into the car this year, it has a much better animation of you walking up to the car and getting in before some other things happen. But this is you know, it's all done from the first person rather than just a third person thing, which is what it's been, I think, in the other games. But yeah, this is my first experience of the games. I am going to warn you, I pretty much sucked in my trial of this game, because I just, look at that, what the hell am I doing? Straight over all the corners. And actually, that's something I wanted to talk about next, because let's be honest, what is the one thing that Formula 1 fans are going to want from this game? Above and beyond, do the cars feel even close to what I imagine they would be like in real life? Well, luckily for you, the answer is in fact yes. And look at that, Perez. Look at how weirdly Perez brakes for this, and I think, do I actually get him back? Yeah, I do. Look at that, just drive around the outside. There's the Red Bull for you. But yes, no. Do the cars feel anything like, you know, they would be to drive in real life? Now, in F1 2012, it was very, very jittery. I find, particularly with my steering wheel on the demo, it was quite hard for me to drive just in a straight line. I'd have to really dole down the steering settings to stand a chance of driving in a straight line. This game, thankfully, that doesn't happen. But there is... of course, the thing that they were going for in 2012 was the twitchiness, the responses of an F1 car. Now, don't think for a second that this game's lost any of that, because on this game the cars are still hypersensitive. They are incredibly sensitive to almost every single input. In fact, it is very, very, very difficult to not oversteer, really, if you've got a steering wheel rig. I would actually recommend, in some instances, maybe dulling your sensitivity down. I'm actually just being really nervous here and just really stupid. I haven't really delve too much into the handling. I'm just trying to sort of, yeah, I'm actually now just trying to stay ahead of who's that behind me now. I think it looks like what, oh, I can't even see that. I can't even say who that says right now. I think it says who am I gonna guess? It looks like it says Burasan or something along those lines. So I really don't have a clue who's behind me right now, because my my screen's quite sort of dodgy on the writing because I'm watching this on the preview screen rather than a full screen. I find it just easier to see, you know, the lengths of my videos when I'm doing that. If I've made edits, but yeah. So it's very easy to oversteer, and on this game, thank God they've actually done this, because I even in 2012, where the cars are quite sensitive, I found that it rewards aggressive driving a hell of a lot. I find that if you drive aggressively, that's when you get the best out of the cars. Which, I mean, you can do that in real life. Look at Lewis Hamilton. But obviously, when you're putting on massive amount of steering lock, technically they say not to do that. And I mean, you're thinking, how the hell do you know? I actually do know. I've done a single-seater racing experience before, and you know, and these cars are single-seaters, so they technically respond and handle in a similar way to F1 cars, just a bit less, you know, full on. But they say, you know, do not be aggressive with your steering inputs, because you're just gonna lock up and you're gonna spin round. So even in an F1 car, you can't just be whack whack full lock all the time, otherwise it's just not gonna work. Even Lewis Hamilton can't just put full lock on a corner where you know you wouldn't be able to put full lock on. Even he has to, you know, be appropriate with the lock. It's just the way that he drives. It's a driving style, but still gentle in the way. Look at this. I can't even get close to that corner at the moment. This is how how lacking in confidence I am with this game at this point. But yes, no, and that's one thing I do love about this game. To get the most out of this game, you don't want to put too much lock on. You want to really, really, really be gentle with the lock, and that's why I suggest actually turning your steering wheel sensitivity down if you have steering wheels, because I think you'll be able to find yourself, without having real life feel, it's quite hard to get the appropriate amount of lock on this game, because look how much I'm actually oversteering here. Look at how much I'm actually cutting corners in this lap on this race, and you'll see what I mean. That's because I'm driving it like it's 2000 and now here we are in a Sauber. I'm driving it as if it's basically F1 2011, where if you put quite a fair bit of lock on, the car won't really oversteer too much depending on your settings. But on this game, the cars really do, and there's me testing out the brakes, playing devil's advocate, finding out just how sensitive they really are. And you'll see it in this lap as well. I find it hard to find the appropriate line through the corners, and that's all because I was just way out of whack with the amount of lock I was putting on. I was struggling to find the appropriate setting. Well, not the setting. Settings aren't important. But there you go. Look how much I'm steering too much for that corner, and I'm scrubbing off speed. So, to get the best out of this game rewards gentle driving, it rewards crisp driving, and as a result, I find this game to be a lot more fun. I think this game is a lot more fun because of that, in fact. Because you can't just go whacking on massive amounts of lock, you know, yay, have a laugh. Well, you can have a laugh. But I find because you have to be that little bit more delicate, just a tiny bit more delicate with this game, I find that really helps overall, because it makes it so much more challenging and so much more rewarding when you actually do find the correct amount of lock. And actually it also means it's a lot easier to place your car there around too much lock. And look, the car understeers. There you go. Now you see I'm oversteering the car, and that's actually causing understeer, because that's what actually happens. You know, if you just put too much lock on, then the wheels stop sort of rolling a bit, and then you will get that sort of washing out effect. Which is what I just got there. So in terms of handling, this game's actually pretty realistic. I'm not going to say it's always perfect, because it's probably not, and no game can ever be that. But I mean, compared to previous games, this game has got the handling down, I think, a lot better than other games. What would I say? Yeah. It's probably the best handling system Codemasters has put into one of its F1 games yet. I thought 2012 was a little bit too twitchy. And I thought it's still way too possible to slide out. And that was the next thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to the physics and the handling. on this game, assuming you drive the cars correctly and you don't put on too much lock and you're not oversteering the car too much, that's one thing that really impressed me. It's just the amount of traction you can get. Because think about it, when you watch F1, how many times do you see a car just doing a 360 or a 180 on the track? It's not that often these days. Generally speaking, the F1 cars these days, even without traction control, tend to have quite a fair bit of traction. And on this game, that's definitely the case. Okay, now I haven't actually turned the traction control fully off, because, I mean, I was just getting used to the game. But on F1 2011, even with sort of 50% medium level traction control, it's very easy to spin out if your car doesn't have much grip. And that's because the cars just don't have that much traction in F1 2011, particularly so in 2011. The cars just felt a bit more powerful, a bit faster in that game, which is good for the straight lines, but at the same time, when you're in a corner and you're trying to be delicate, it can be difficult. And here I am, and this is another thing. Look at how late I can brake there. In F1 2011, you'd have to be braking way before the red and whites to stand a chance of braking for that. Unless if you're in like a high-end car and you've turned the braking pressure up, then you'd be you'd probably be okay for that. But now here you can see I'm trying my more delicate cornering. I'm like, okay, right, let's be gentle with this. And look at this, still a bit too bad through there, but here we go. I'm starting to get there now. I'm starting to think, oh yeah, okay, so let's just be a bit more gentle. And there you go. You can see that traction there. That traction was on display that I was talking about. And I have a feeling that I have a strange feeling that on this game you could probably with this game you could probably take a Sauber or a car like the one I'm in now, a midfield team, and probably outpace 2011's Red Bull, just because this game's handling engine is that much more realistic. When you make changes, you can feel the changes, and they're generally good. Look at that time I didn't steer enough. But it is quite difficult to get used to that actual new sense of newfound realism in this game, which is very nice. So overall, what do the cars feel like to drive? Pretty good, I'd say. It's very enjoyable, I'd say. It is. It's just enjoyable. I'm going to be honest. In terms of driving the cars, even just lapping them without racing them, is a pretty fun experience, which I can't necessarily say about the previous games. That time I got way too much on the curbs there. That's another thing. You can use the curbs on this game. You can just attack the curbs if you want to, and they're not just going to spit you out, which is pretty pleasant. Yeah, just overall, just little tweaks here and there over F1 2011 12, and we've got a vastly improved game here. Look how much speed I'm carrying through there. This is what I'm talking about. I don't think you could have done that. I'm starting to get a bit better now. I'm starting to get used to the handling engine. And I'm like, this is pretty damn good. And I'm enjoying it. I'm there. I'm being a bit gentle there. I understeer a bit too much. But so what else do I need to talk about? Sound. Okay, yeah, you can't really hear it, so you're just gonna have to take my word for this. The sound in this game is good. I've heard some people saying stuff about the classic cars, and I'm not going to be able to get to show you. We are going to see a classic, one of the classic cars in a minute. A bit annoyed with what happened actually when I tried to drive one of the classic cars, but I will talk about the sound briefly. The modern cars, by the way, not really a problem. They're pretty realistic to sounding. And the classic car, one thing that you tend to, here we are, the classic around Jerez. One of the things that you'd expect with one of the classic cars is you'd expect echoing. You get echoes around. You have it in your head, the echo around Monaco of these classic cars driving around there, and that happens on this demo. Although you can't hear it, that was happening on this demo, and this is actually the annoying thing that happened on this demo. I'm hitting every button frantically now, trying to take control of this car and find out what's what. But unfortunately, it's not doing that. So I couldn't actually drive on the classic cars, and because I only had an hour of the game, I was like, I don't really have enough time to sit waiting around again if that happens again. So unfortunately, this is all the experience I have with the classic cars. I can say that it certainly sounds okay. I must admit, I heard one of the 1990s F1 cars. I was a bit like, that's not overly brilliant. But the sound on this little ride around session I had with I didn't show all of it because I was hoping, what if it's a slow loader? I actually went for 2 laps ride around there. And now here I am, I'm in this year's Ferrari, and I'm deciding to take it around Brands Hatch. I want to drive one of the classic tracks, and I wanted to see that if it would do that loading thing again with one of the modern cars on the classic tracks. And now I've never driven Brands Hatch with a modern F1 car, so I have absolutely no idea what to expect. And ironically, little did I realise that was probably going to be the best I ever took that hairpin on this session. But what I found with the Brands Hatch circuit is absolute blinding circuit, even for these cars. It's so fast. It's ridiculously quick. You can carry so much more speed than you think you can. And there's this one really challenging corner coming up, and here I am. I find myself braking too much. That I'm nowhere near the exit of the track. I'm not carrying enough speed. Now I'm cornering too much, and it's this corner coming up. This little sharp right-hander here. Boy, that catches you out. That one really is a little bit difficult to position yourself for, but overall, yeah, this track is so damn fast, and you can carry so much more speed than you think you can. Look at that! I actually thought I was going to just crash trying to do that at that speed there, but a very quick lap. I think it's something like 1:07 there, and I don't think that's the fastest lap I did. Yeah, this is one of the, and trying to decide when to use your curves is very difficult on the circuit, but this is one of the things I do quite like about F1 2013. You can drive modern cars on the classic tracks, and you can drive classic cars on the modern circuits. So if you want to, you can take this year's Ferrari to Imola, or alternatively, you could take the Nigel Mansell's Williams to India, or someplace, or America. You know, the most modern of circuits, and it's quite a cool feature. There I am. I'm overspeeding the car again, and I'm just pushing. I'm trying to get the balance here. And here we go. I'm ready for. I was thinking, all right, and then that corner just completely caught me out. I think I did one more lap on this circuit, but I decided not to show it because I don't want this video to go on too long. But what I can say is that it's very weird driving these modern cars on these old circuits because you don't really have a reference point. When you're driving this car around Shanghai, for example, you can kind of use what they do on television as a kind of a reference point. You kind of know how much speed you can take based on what they do on television, but you've never seen a Fernando Alonso drive a 2013 Ferrari at Brands Hatch, so you have absolutely no clue. So it really is. It's a bit more it's a bit more challenging driving the cars out of place on tracks that they don't go to in real life. So yeah, that was an interesting experiment. I was very interested in that. I've got to say something though about this McLaren now for this race. I'm surprised how pixelated that looked. I'm not sure how it's coming across on your computer screens, but when I was playing this on the game, that was very pixelated. I was like, not so sure I like that, you know. I thought it'd be a lot less. And by the way, I'm starting to get used to the handling engine a bit more now. So I think this is probably the best amount of driving I ever do. But I am in this year's McLaren, so the result of this race should be surprising. So there you go. I've got good speed coming off of Air Rouge, and here we go. And I've decided, oh look, I'm catching them up. I'm actually catching them up. Do I use the curves up? No. Oh look, what is this? What is this? Oh, greatest overtake at Spa in history. Oh yeah. In this year's McLaren, I'm going up against 6 cars just completely out of my cars league, and I beat them all. Oh yeah, the last of the late breakers. And by the way, the AI is turned on to its hardest setting. So I must admit that's another point I was going to talk about, the AI. The AI in previous games has anybody who's played them will know they've had this really bad problem with the first lap. The AI really hates the first lap. And for the most part, it's better than it used to be. They do at least attempt to push when they're on cold tyres. but it's still not perfect. It's on the first lap, they are still just a bit sluggish. They're not as bad as they used to be. It's not like they're breaking 200 yards before a fast 150-mile-an-hour right-hander like they used to, and you could just drive past them if you're positioned properly, not to smack into the back of them. But they aren't perfect. They do still have issues there, and it's a shame that they haven't been addressed. So here I am. I'm getting used to this handling engine a bit more now, and I'm starting to drive the car a bit better. I haven't actually done any setup work, so I mean I just cannot keep with Hamilton at all. And then again, you probably wouldn't expect me to keep with Hamilton, considering I'm in this year's McLaren. This is not the kind of car which I should be keeping up with Hamilton in, to be fair. Maybe last year I could, but not this year. And I've got to say, just overall, the AI, it does seem to be a little bit better. It does appear to be better this year, I must admit. When you're racing them, they come up with moves. They go to defend their line in a realistic way. I guess I'd like to see a little bit more customization though, a little bit more character coming from. And there's Nico Rosberg making a mistake, I think. And that is something that I should say, is that the AI does make mistakes. It's not infallible, even on the most difficult setting. It's not going to drive perfectly. It will make mistakes, and that just makes the game just a tiny bit more accessible. Because if you just ramp it up to its hardest setting, then it can be a bit daunting if you've just picked this game up. Not that you probably would ramp it up to its most difficult setting. But yeah, I mean, sometimes the AI's perfection can be a little bit, this is really annoying. But on this game, that doesn't appear to be a problem. They do make mistakes, and I think it's now, can't remember who's behind me now, but I think he clips me in a minute. He tries to get a bit aggressive whilst he's got the overdrive on me, whilst he's got the slipstream, and he sort of clips me on the inside or something, on the outside, there you go. I think I went to spin him out. Or was that earlier? I can't remember if that's this race or if I've already done it. Probably already done it, actually. I thought there'd be more cars right up on my ass by now. I think I did it on the first lap, actually. I'm talking about something that happened a lap ago. But I sort of, they are quite aggressive. They will still go for aggressive overtakes. And it feels more like you're racing... It's more unpredictable, the racing this year. But there's a traction. You can drive off on curves, and we're getting close now to the end. So I should probably wrap up my thoughts on this. So graphics, what do I think of graphics? I'd say the graphics are improved. They are definitely improved. I was a bit disappointed from the onboard camera of the McLaren. I was a bit, why is it pixelated? It's not like it's badly pixelated. It's just a bit fuzzy when at the end of the nose. And on the other cars I didn't see that. Other than that, I thought the graphics were much improved. I must admit, the scenery density and the tracks just seem to be bonded better. The actual road surface is much better, and particularly when it's raining. I don't know if you noticed that, but you can see the individual droplets of rain now, and that's quite a nice touch. Actually, I think having that raining race was a pretty good thing for me when I'm starting the game out, because I could see just how improved the graphics were, and they are improved to no end. I'd say that the graphics have... it would be interesting to see how they compare to next gen. Obviously, they're going to get blown away. But the handling is improved. I'd say this game is just overall... if you can think of how many things you want improved over F1 2012, this game pretty much takes all those things you want improved and actually does it. I can't think of a single way that this game is actually worse than 2012. I can't think of any steps backward. But there I am. I finished second as Jenson Button. I only wish that would happen a couple of times this year because I am a massive fan. And now here we are, the last bit of driving. I'm here as a Red Bull. I'm like, well, now that I've kind of got used to the handling engine, can I actually keep up with some of the front runners? Can I sort of hang with them as the Red Bull? Because obviously in real life we know how... And there's some sparks, more graphical improvements. So is it worth delaying the next-gen consoles, buying the next-gen consoles for this game? If you're a massive F1 fan, then yes. If you don't really like F1, if you're not that bothered by it, I wouldn't if I were you. But what I'm doing in this car right now is I'm actually pushing a bit. I'm trying to win, and you're going to see how that ends in a few seconds, because it doesn't end particularly brilliantly. But there I am, a nice clean overtake on Mark Webber. Sorry, any Webber fans, that actually happened. But there you go, I'm trying to push, and I'm like, wow, I thought I took that corner pretty well there. And now I'm just absolutely like, okay, time to fly as Sebastian Vettel, and I'm absolutely trying my best now. I am really trying to win this. I'm trying to keep up with the car in front of Felipe Massa, and I'm just like, here we go. And, well, this is how it ends. If you like this video, please remember to hit like and subscribe. And now 2 videos which you may have missed. On the right we have Blurred Lines, a video where I discuss Robin Thicke's feminist pissing off track called Blurred Lines, where he talks about getting blasted. And on the left we have The Super Brave Minion, a video where I deliver the most touching, personal and heartfelt tribute to the bravest minion who sacrificed what little life he had left to try and take the Nexus for us in League of Legends. But for now, thank you very much for watching.